QS is standing up and defending themselves. And now we've got our own favourite property tycoon, our engineer, Francis Leung. Francis is going to come today and give us an insight on what New World developments are up to in relation to BIM and what he predicts is going to happen in the next couple of years. Francis, you are between us and our coffee break. Try and keep it under half an hour, please. If you can do it even faster, that would be brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Francis Leung.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon. I'm Francis Leung, if you don't know me. A long time no see, because last year I was in Beijing in a class in Tsinghua University. So now I'm back. I'm back with a new world of BIM. Today my presentation or my speech will be a bit short because I know we have passed so many good speakers this whole day. I think you're a bit tired. So, and I know my time is eat up, so I will try to cut it short. We have been using BIM or developing BIM for 10 years. Start from 2015, we always said there are less than 5 people know what the BIM is. And after these 10 years, it's so hot. At least this year is the BIM year 2014 from CIC. So everybody in the construction industry talk about BIM, know what BIM is. But after these 10 years, so what is the most heard feedback from BIM in Hong Kong? Of course, is this BIM is good. We all know BIM is good in the technical side, just like all the speakers said this morning and this afternoon. And also we know BIM is good at the value that brings to our projects. Yeah, but this sentence is not stopped here. What we heard is BIM is good, but we have too many and too rapid changes in our projects. It seems this is unique in Hong Kong. I don't know, maybe our Western friends can tell us what is happening in other part of the world. But in Hong Kong, everybody said because we have too many changes, because our clients are involved too much, because they have too many ideas, and they have too many expectations in our projects. But the problem is, it's quite hard to limit the expectation of our boss. If we limit their expectation, they will limit our pay. So, although this is almost a fact, but we have to face it. And then the next one is people will say, BIM is good, but BIM cannot catch up with the pace of the progress. Because in Hong Kong, the project pace is so quick. Remember 10 years ago when we worked on Chilean and nunnery, we said we need to build it in 2 years. But when we consult our Japanese expert, they said they have to season the timber for at least 6 years. So it's a miracle if you can finish in 2 years. But that is the pace in Hong Kong in the projects. Again, this is another fact. But does it mean after these 2 facts, BIM is quite difficult to be implemented in Hong Kong? And I have a kind of observation saying, based on my personal unofficial BIM experience from non-BIMers, BIM is failed in Hong Kong. Of course, I'm a BIMer. This is not my will, okay? Many people say we have many BIM projects already. And most of them are just putting in a small part. It's a pilot project. We test it. We don't know how much or what value we can really gain, but at least we have a step forward already. So in that sense, it's successful. But in terms of the real value, of the overall value of BIM, looks like we are not reaching there. I'm in New World construction. When we manage our project, we face a lot of problems. One simple problem is we don't have centralized storage of information. We are in an information sea. So information is just like those in the library. We have many books there, but how can we put all this information together to build a building? So we can assume all this information can be put together. It will be perfect because we are all professional, we are all experts in buildings. But in reality, so all this information are separated, like books. And we have another big problem. It's about the world of drawings. So I make a simple graphics here and saying what is happening here is we have many people producing many sets of drawings of their own disciplines. And then we cover it, call it a complete set, and then pass it on to another group of people. Yeah, this is a perfect world we have been doing in so many years. But if we want to see the reality, we make it transparent, and then you can see some hidden lines between the people. In reality, actually, one guy produces a set of drawings for one guy only. You may not need to read the drawings from the other guy, or you don't need to worry about your set of drawings is for somebody else. It's for one particular guy. So this is happening, and that means, although we call it complete set, it may not be real complete, and it may not be consistent. We all know that. So in order to solve these problems, at least these two problems, my boss engaged me and then bring me into this organization and give us a big task. We go for a management approach to these problems. He set the vision. He set the vision, a very simple vision with only 2 words. It's mastering information. Simple as that. My role is in the middle to set the strategy. So I have to find people. I have to build standard. I have to develop the system because the system is not just out of the box. We buy the software and then open it and then install and then just one click, you get nothing. And also, we need to showcase the value to whom? To our staff. Because we have 800 staff in our company, but we have a BIM team. The BIM team, we have around 20. So we cannot expect these 20 guys can finish all the projects in our company. So we need to eventually encourage or push or enforce all these 100 people to use BIM. It doesn't mean they have to operate BIM, but they have to use it. So our role, our strategy is to showcase the value, to tell them BIM can help you, can help your work. So yesterday we have the meeting with our project team. He keep worrying, saying, don't create more workloads to me. Even if you don't bring any value, don't give me trouble. So we need to showcase our value. And then the last step is the execution. Then we have to implement BIM in our projects. We have to take up some tasks. Also, we have to take up training to train these 800 people, including our managing director. And also, eventually, we may need to enforce, is to force everybody to use BIM. If you don't go BIM, sorry. So this is the management approach to meet our MD's expectation, that is to master information. And of course, we know in order to do that, BIM is the best tools for us. So I see BIM as an information hub. What we want to do is we put everything into BIM. And BIM is just like a filter. So information should pass through BIM to anywhere. At the same time, when we have the information, we can quickly feedback our review result or opinion back to that discipline professionals. So that means it's a back and forth operation. So information in, information out. And then when we have a more mature or at least we have a consolidated result, we can pass it on to the so-called stakeholders. The stakeholders are not our professionals like you. They may just be laymen. They don't know how to read drawings, but they can comment. We need to address their comment. So the best way to read our design is to read the BIM. Of course, you can say it's images, animations, videos, some simple format that they can understand. And also, we have a gray line back from the stakeholders because they can have their say in our projects. So it's not like decades ago that we professionals sit in the room and then finish our projects. We have some kind of committees that are just laymen, but they have a say. So this is our approach to use BIM. Use it as an information hub. So people will say, okay, that's good, the name is good, hub, but it becomes a bottleneck. You may take a big risk in this operation because everybody will just look at you and say, so where is the information? Or your information is always wrong. What does it mean for us? What does we expect about information? Information for us is a lot of things like design, method statement, budget, cost, program, milestones, site layout, plans, logistics, safety provisions, material, quantities, everything. It's not just quantities. It's not just we need the drawings. These information are what we need to manage every day, no matter you have BIM or not. So at the same time, all this information are interrelated. My boss say we need to put a fence around the opening, but the opening will not appear on the first day till the end of the construction. It appears in a certain period. So that means when we put in this fence, we need to put in accordance with that period. So that means it's related to the program. But because the time of this fence is there, it's related to the budget. So everything ties together. So for us, this information, we need to do something. We need to collect all this information. We need to input all this information into our system. And we need to coordinate, work together all this information. And we need to have some process to work on the information. It's just not like a bucket of sand that we put everything together. We need to process it. And then we don't just put it in like a black box. We need to take it out in whatever format that is user-friendly for our users. We can present or show our information to whoever interested in the project. And the most important here, I would say, we need to let people use the information. So use information doesn't mean they need to come in front of the computer and then go into the model and then do whatever. But they need to get the information now. Not just they ask and then we give them information. They need to access the information. But to access the information doesn't mean they access the model. So that's why we don't talk about technical. We want to make some simple format that everybody can use it. Just like you go to the bank in front of the ETC machine, you can get your money out. But you don't know IT. So that is what we want. And eventually, of course, it's decision making. We want our boss to make decisions based on the BIM model. And that is what everybody put their ideas in. All the professionals put their ideas in the model. We want our boss to look at the model. Of course, it's not asking him to operate the software, but they want to see the coordinated result. So this is the big picture for us. And then what we need to do is we need to redefine the workflow. So this is the normal workflow. We have the drawings, then people build the model, and then say, check the model, check the drawings. We produce a lot of clashes, and then the clashes becomes clashes between people, and all these problems. And for us, we move the BIM forward. We have the BIM model before drawings. We are not saying we force the consultants to build the model for us, but because we are the in-house BIM team, we can produce the BIM model even before the consultant can give us the information, because we start the model when we have the land bid. When the land bid is successful, we start the model already. So even for M&E, the same. We want to coordinate the model, coordinate the layout, the piping in the model first. Then we produce drawings for the construction. And also, we want to have the BIM to keep all updates. Keep all updates doesn't mean how many versions do you build your model, or we build model every day. Whatever information, whatever format, we put it in the model. This image, the yellow part, is not material. The yellow part means the consultants, the architects say something, and then in the meeting, and then we put it in. And then we have the remark saying we are waiting for your verbal confirmation of verbal instruction. Until one day we receive the document, then we change the parameters, and then the colors change. So we can show this to our boss saying, oh, why our construction is so late, so slow? We can say because we are waiting for this CVI. And for us, BIM is going to see the full picture of the project. So this is a simple chart that once I show my boss, oh, understand. And what it means is at the start of the construction, we have all the information about design. And that is a full picture and a full BIM model. And then from, according to the, along the construction progress, we have update information based on the as-built information. So we change or we update the model based on as-built model. Until the end of the construction, we have the as-built model. We don't have a case saying at the end of the construction, we spend 6 months to build a BIM, as-built BIM model. We don't have this case. And actually, this chart is replicated to the design stage. At the start of the project, we have the BIM model, a full BIM model based on the developer's expectation. And then from time to time, when we have the design development, we update the BIM model based on the design. So at the end of the design stage is the start of this construction stage. And one more point is that because we are in-house contractors, we don't need to go for design bid build. We don't tender the project. We can combine the design stage and the construction stage. And that means we can always manage our BIM model to the full capacity or full information set. So what we have done here is we have our in-house team. So then we have the full control of the BIM content and usage. I have been talking about BIM for 10 years. And in the past few years, we keep saying that, oh, we expect the consultant will build the model. That is the easiest. And then we bring the consultants' models together and then for coordination. We found out that it's a bit difficult because the consultant, even if they want to do the model, they do it for themselves. They want to achieve some objective of themselves. The engineers, the architects may just want drawings. Even the model can produce quantities. They don't want to give the quantities. So that's why they don't want to build some features that can enable the quantities. Just like before you said you need to put the cost code. If you ask a structural engineer to put the cost code, he will say no. So we are different. We have our own BIM team. So we want to achieve all these objectives. And then we build our model in our own format, in our own settings to achieve all these objectives. So we don't produce additional workloads to our PMs and consultants. So don't worry, if you bid new world projects, you don't need to put additional costs for BIM. Don't worry, we will do it for you. And of course, we will create some workload to you because we find your problems. And then we can ease the process because we have early planning and better control of the design. So whenever we have the design information in, whatever information in, we have the full picture. We know everything. So we can produce our budget based on the BIM. We can produce our planning based on BIM. So that is what we can have to control. In the past, you may say, based on certain version, we have this number, we have these drawings, we have this schedule, but they are all separated. Now, we have to control. So what we want to achieve is having less mistake and reduce waste. So this is always the ultimate goal for people talking about BIM. But in the past, people may say, oh, I have to do more to achieve your value. Like you have less mistake, you have less waste, but I have to do more. So, but for us, it's different because we are the developer and also we are the contractor. So whoever get the value, the whole group get the value. So we can look for this achievement. What we have done in New World Construction, because of these settings, we have the early access of information. Again, because we are also part of New World Development. So we don't ask or we don't beg for information. We are in the loop anyway. From day one, we have the information. We have the joins. Consultants join will pass through us. So we have the joins, we can build our model. We don't need to let them know. As long as we just tell them, so issues identified. So this is our benefit. And also, after we have all this information, we can give clear instructions to everybody, even for consultants. Because at the first day of the development, we don't just rely on design information. As a contractor, we can have a say about our constructability. We will produce our own method statement. Based on our own construction sequence, the design may need to change. We tell them where the separation joints are. We tell them the sequence of work. So that means on the first day when we have the model, we can store this information. That means even the construction sequence, we can store it in the model and then pass it on to the consultants based on the model information. And also we have revised the workflow. We have a say because we have a good team in our company and we have the vision from our boss. Nobody will have any resistance for this revised workflow. Everybody just try to work out the best workflow that we can achieve these BIM objectives. And this workflow that will actually that will realize the real value to everybody. And because we don't just not creating problem to our staff, we bring them value. We make their life easier. And then they are happy to join this journey. And this workflow is very important. It's not about technology. The technology is there, but how can we make it work? When should we put in the BIM? So what is the level of details? We have our own standard. We have our own level of details. It's different from what we are producing for the whole world. So we have a slogan saying, as a management contractor, our asset is actually our people, their experience, their knowledge. We need to bring all these assets together. We need to manage it to produce, to build our buildings. And the buildings will eventually become an asset of the building owner. We don't just build buildings. So we said from our assets to your assets. And this is our aim. We call it asset information management. So it's not just building. We do BIM not for the construction only, because we do BIM for our mother company that is a developer. And we want quality building. We want our building that is not just a product sold in the market. And that's what I say this is a new world of BIM, because in the past we talked too much about the technology, but how to implement BIM is the most important. Our friends keep saying, I want the whole company BIM. Yes, I said, yes, that's good. Everybody wants, but it's not easy. We are trying to achieve that. We have the good platform. We have all the projects. We have all the good people. And we don't need to worry about business. So we wish we are going to be successful. So hope maybe next year, if I'm in this conference again, I tell you the result. Thank you very much.